You know, there are people out there that actually believe that this economy is booming. There are people out there that believe that there is no economic threat to America. These same people are the ones that like to judge us, the same people that like to judge me and make allegations saying I'm trying to sell something. I own a gold mine, I own a silver mine, I'm selling doom and gloom. These same people. But it's amazing when we ask these same people to give us some kind of proof of why they believe the economy is booming, they never have an answer. And I'm going to ask those same people today to please comment down below. Those same people who like to judge you and I, who like to make these allegations, who always like to use the word doom and gloom because for some reason they don't live in the real world and apparently don't do their homework, they don't do their research. I want to ask those people today, how come the New York Fed added another $86.4 billion in day of key money market pressures? This is on the Wall Street Journal today. So for all those people out there that like to judge you and I, you need to go to the Wall Street Journal today. They're not just making this up. This is easily accessed, okay? You can go to the Wall Street Journal today. You can go through multiple websites, confirm it. But answer me this. This is just another $86.4 billion. We're seeing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars going into financial institutions in this repo market. We're seeing the Fed, again, with more quantitative easing. If things were so good, how come the Fed is now in the stock market? How come the Fed now is back to quantitative easing? Oh yeah, we can't say it's quantitative easing. They're just injecting hundreds of billions of dollars into financial institutions and banks. And how many foreign banks is the Fed injecting money into? So if things are so good, how come we're injecting all this money? Please comment down below. Answer me that today. How come, if things are so good, the Fed is stepping in and pumping in hundreds of billions of dollars while we've had 3 straight rate cuts and expect more in 2020? It's Monday, December 16th, 2019. So much going on. It makes me sit back and think about, am I really prepared enough for what is coming? The more I research, the more people I talk to, the more comments I read, because people from all over this country and beyond are writing in, and the news is not good. The news is really, really concerning. What's happening in hometown USA. People are writing me, telling me their friends are getting laid off, they're getting laid off, retail, shopping centers, malls are ghost towns, and the climate is very, very dark when we look at what's happening with this economy here in America. And that's just coming from what you guys are telling me, okay? I'm reading the comments and the news is not good. And on top of what I'm reading, in the Wall Street Journal or shtfplan.com, Zero Hedge, Drudge Report, you name it. The news is not good. And it really makes me ask myself, am I prepared enough for what is coming? And the answer to that is probably not. So as we're heading into Christmas here, I am definitely going to be taking some of my hard-earned fiat monopoly money, buying more gold, more silver, parking more cash, and cutting back the lunches, cutting back the dinners, just cutting back, things that I can cut back in order to buy more assets. And I do a pretty good job. I'm pretty well controlled when it comes to spending. I think I've done a pretty good job with putting assets away in cash and being really conservative. But I'm telling you, everything that I'm starting to see, everything I'm reading, and just talking to some of you out there, I believe I may even have to do more, because when this thing breaks apart, many people are going to regret that they did nothing, and many of us will just regret that we didn't do enough. Maybe, we should have saved a little bit more cash, a little bit more gold, a little bit more silver, a little bit more food, whatever the case may be. Will we have done enough? I mean, we are really getting close to something happening here. That doesn't mean that it's going to happen, next week or next month. When I mean close, I mean, I see things really starting to break apart in 2020. And we don't know how bad it could get, but we have geopolitical, we have social, and we have economical uncertainty right now. And it's going to multiply as we head into 2020. So make sure you are preparing. I want to go over an article today. This was on Zero Hedge. I'm gonna read through this article, and I don't like to just sit here and read all day to you, but this article really made some incredible points, and I want to highlight some of this for you because I think it's very critical, and I think it's going to make a lot of you think about what is going on. The title of this article, "A Market That Needs $1 trillion in Panic Money Printing to Starve Off Implosion is Not a Market." And that is the truth. This article goes on to say, a market that needs $1 trillion in panic money printing by the Fed to delay an overdue economic implosion is not a market. Here's a fact. The U.S. has not had a legitimate market in 12 years. That is a fact. What we call a market is a crude simulation that obscures the Federal Reserve's socialism for the super wealthy. Those people at the very, very top, that 0.001% where that money trickles down to, and it doesn't trickle down into the economy. It's not trickling down into your life. It's staying at the very top of that pyramid. Apologists claim the bubbles must be inflated to help the average American, but this claim is absurd. The majority of Americans own near zero assets that earn income. At best, they own rapidly depreciating vehicles, a home that doesn't generate any income, and a life insurance policy that pays off only when they pass away. The price of your home is currently inflated, and it's not improving your income. It's paper wealth, and many people are going to find out how quickly paper wealth can vanish. Housing bubble 2.0 is coming. And that makes a great point because there's so many people, this market is booming. People are looking at their 401ks, looking at their money markets. Many of them going, I'm a millionaire. It's what we call a paper millionaire. You don't have that money in your hands, okay? That's sitting at some a financial institution, some money market. That is not money in your hands. And unfortunately, when this thing implodes, people are going to look on the computer screen at their money market, at their 401k, and they're going to see a lot of numbers missing, and many people will no longer be a paper millionaire. Many people will be wiped out. So remember, if you don't hold it, you don't own it. You may have $1 million on paper today, but tomorrow is a whole nother day. If legitimate price discovery was allowed today, asset bubbles would pop. Stocks, bonds, and real estate, all asset bubbles. The Fed is keeping every day going, and it's benefiting just a few at the very top. The super wealthy who own stocks, bonds, companies, and commercial real estate, all of these produce an income where the average American has nothing that produces an income. They're just spending their incomes to pay their bills, to pay their mortgage, to pay their rent, to pay their car payments, to pay their student loan, to pay their credit cards, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The rich get richer thanks to the Fed as they generate income from their assets, with the Fed goosing asset prices, making their paper wealth multiply. Let's talk about the Fed's manipulated market. It's illiquid. If any serious selling were to arise, there wouldn't be enough buyers to stop the implosion of bubbles. And this is really a scary concern here, is because when the selling does start, there will be no buyers. Everybody is going to be running for the doors. And this is when we're going to see asset prices hit the basement. They will collapse. This is when you see the beginning of the end for the stock market and the bursting of these asset bubbles. The Fed's game today is to create an illusion of liquidity by being the buyer of last resort. And talk about liquidity, another $86 billion injected into the banks this morning, okay? Why is that? Because there is a liquidity crisis. So the buyer of last resort, the Federal Reserve. Now the Fed has to come in, and now they are propping up banks here in the US, quite possibly foreign banks, quite possibly Deutsche Bank, printing more money out of thin air, putting more digits on a screen to keep this whole thing propped up. 12 years of socialism for the super wealthy is the consequence we now have. The Fed has destroyed real price discovery. We don't know what the real price of real estate should be. Back in 2008, when we went through this collapse, the Fed jumped in as all of these asset bubbles were bursting, everything was collapsing, the Fed jumped in. So we don't know how much farther down asset values would be because the Fed came in and pumped in trillions of dollars. The market wasn't allowed to be free. The Fed came in and controlled everything by injecting all of this printed money. So we don't know today. And now with all of these corporate buybacks, with all of the decade of low interest rates, with the Fed injecting billions and billions of dollars into these markets, we don't know what the real price of these assets are because they've been so manipulated, artificially manipulated. The super wealthy no longer worry about liquidity. It's all about leverage. The super wealthy can gamble with hundreds of billions of dollars to strip mine the economy and not worry about whether a buyer will actually pay the overvalued price of the asset because they can count on the Fed to step up and panic money print whatever sums are needed to maintain the illusion of liquidity. And what I think most of us need to understand today, these markets are all an illusion. They're all propped up, they're all manipulated with all of this money printing, with corporate buybacks, with low interest rates. It's all an illusion. So buyer beware. If the market is so healthy, why is the Fed panic money printing over $1 trillion in a few months? Billion-dollar repos, okay? We look at, right now, we're gonna be looking at $500 billion in the repo market and $636 billion in asset purchases by the end of this year. Again, there are people telling you not to worry, don't panic, stay calm, keep drinking your beer, keep watching football, keep going to the movies. There's nothing to worry about. Don't listen to doom and gloom. I'm not a doom and gloomer, I'm a realist. So don't kill the messenger, don't hate the messenger. I'm just giving you the facts here. I'm reading an article to you. I'm giving you news from the Wall Street Journal. I'm just sharing the real numbers. So again, if you ask me how the weather is and I look out the window, say it's thunderstorms and it's cloudy and miserable, I'm sorry to give you the bad news, but it's reality. It is the truth. I would be more than happy to tell you that the economy is sunny, there's rainbows, puffy white clouds, and teddy bears. But the fact of the matter is, I'd be lying to you. I don't want to see Americans become a casualty of what is coming. I want you to be prepared. I want you to be mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially strong. And I want people to prosper. I want to prosper when this happens. And right now, I'm making multiple sacrifices, okay? Yes, many of us could be in these markets making money right now, but I'd rather keep my powder dry because I think the real deals are gonna be when these markets crash. Buyers and sellers are confident that the Fed will always buy assets regardless of price, so they trade accordingly. The Fed has been reassuring legal looters that the sky is the limit. So go ahead and gamble hundreds of billions of dollars. We will buy your overvalued assets if things get dicey. It's all fun and games, enriching the super wealthy. But now, karmic costs of the Fed's manipulation and propaganda is about to come due, and very few of the market's supremely complacent and confident participants are prepared for the unraveling of the Fed's illusion of liquidity. And this is why we must all be preparing. It's a very powerful article, and if you get a couple minutes, go on Zero Hedge, check that out. Read that article, and I believe you will come to the same conclusion that I did today. I need to be preparing even more than I am. My goal will be in the next 10 days to order more precious metals. I have some coming presently, but I'm going to make another order in the next 10 days. because these are the assets that are underpriced, undervalued. The two most undervalued assets on the entire planet Earth are gold and silver. I don't own a gold mine. I don't own a silver mine. I do shop at SD Bullion. I do have a link down below. People ask me 10 times a day. People write me, where do I buy? Who do I recommend? SD Bullion. That's why I have a link down below. That's who I've been dealing with, and they have been phenomenal. Prices have been phenomenal. Service phenomenal, and I get my metals quickly. So that's my recommendation. I don't care where you buy, what company you buy from. There's a lot of good companies out there online. There's great coin stores. There's great pawn shops you can go to. My business is not selling coins, okay? My business is not selling gold or silver. I don't own a gold mine. I don't have a silver mine. So again, for the people out there that think that I do, I don't. So I don't care where you buy it. If I tell you to go and buy a firearm, that doesn't mean I work for a manufacturer. If I tell you to go buy food and water, I don't work for a food and water company. So I don't know why these people all like to allege that I own a gold mine or a silver mine. It's just these trolls always, trying to, cause some kind of ripple. I'm just here to help my fellow brother and sister here in America. I love America. And I love every one of you, and I don't want to see anybody get hurt. And if you're buying gold or silver, you're certainly not going to get hurt. Gold and silver has never been worth zero. And I'm just sharing with you. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm sharing with you what I do and what I'm going to do. I'm going to make another purchase at SD Bullion, period. That's it. Because where else can you put money right now that is safe? And where are the two most undervalued assets in the world other than gold or silver? I believe that this market or these markets are seriously overvalued, massive bubbles. They're going to burst, and we are going to see serious trouble here in the United States of America, not just economically, but it is going to bring in social problems. And I want to go over some more articles of why you need to be preparing. And it's not just gold or silver. Get all your preparations in order. Food, water, gear, security being number one. Just really this week, do an evaluation. Are you really prepared enough? If you're 30 days prepared, what's it going to take to get 60 days prepared? If you're 60, what's it going to take to get to 90? Again, you may have to make sacrifices, okay? There are things I'd like to do. There are things I would like to buy, okay? There are things out there that are fun. But unfortunately, if you're going to prepare, you may have to cut out some of the fun. You may have to make sacrifices in order to get a couple ounces of silver, in order to get an ounce of gold, in order to get your security in order to get enough food and water for your family. You are going to have to make sacrifices, but this is the time to do it. You don't want to be making sacrifices when this whole thing implodes. It will be too late. You will not have availability to security. You will not have availability to gold and silver or food or water. It's going to get very, very hard to come by. Falling U.S. pension system may need federal bailout to survive. Again, to the people out there who believe everything is okay, how come we have a massive pension crisis here in America, one that is getting worse? The pension system in the U.S. isn't healthy by any stretch of the imagination. It has been underfunded for way too long. Just 8 states were at least 90% funded, while 24 states in America were below 70% funded. What is going to happen to these pensions when this economy implodes? When we go into a dark recession, which I believe is going to turn into a meltdown, a depression 2.0. What do you think is going to happen to these pensions? Again, you better be preparing. Many of these states have received more money over the years, yet they're more unfunded than ever. Again, this is corruption. This is your politics, using this money for special interests, wasting this money, stealing this money, you name it. And this is all going to lead into another crisis here in America. These states increase more risk rather than reducing it, hoping that the U.S. government is going to bail them out. And who else? You and I. They're going to want you and I to bail them out, as 80% of Americans now live paycheck to paycheck. So again, watch out for the pension crisis. Watch out for these massive bubbles to be popping. Watch out for this massive debt that we've acquired here as a country. All popping and causing massive trouble here in America. U.S. manufacturing PMI rebound stalls. Preliminary December U.S. manufacturing PMI was at 52.5 versus the 52.6 that they were expecting. People will occasionally write me and ask me when do I think things are going to implode in America, and I don't have an answer to that. They will implode when they implode. I do believe 2020 is going to be the start of massive cracks here in America, and we're already seeing the evidence. We're already seeing the cracking. In my opinion, the recession has begun. We look in certain industries like the transport industry, it's in recession. We look at manufacturing, it's in recession. So the writing is already on the wall. The evidence is clear that things have already begun, but I believe that we're going to see things intensify in 2020 across the board. But it isn't just one danger. There are multiple dangers here to America, many unexploded bombs, but most of them are all related to debt. Corporate debt, pension debt, state debt, federal debt, and household debt are all dangers to the U.S. economy. All this is going to affect you and I. Debt is going to bring us all down. This is what is going to implode the U.S. economy, is the massive amounts of debt. It's not going to be China. It's not going to be trade deals with China. It's not going to be deals with Russia. It's going to be debt. The biggest enemy, the biggest threat to America is debt. And let's not forget, there is debt bombs all over the world. And don't forget, Deutsche Bank is a ticking time bomb. If Deutsche Bank implodes, half the world is going to implode with it, and America is going to be included on that list. I want to close with this article, and it's regarding what, again, just happened recently, about 45 minutes from my home at Starbucks Coffee. Do not ever go to Starbucks Coffee. If you are in law enforcement, you should never go to Starbucks. If you're a real American, you should not be spending your hard-earned money at Starbucks. Beware of where you spend your money. And I want to close this video with this. Do not spend your money at Starbucks. They are anti-American. Instead of spending $5, $6, $7 on that latte or that mocha at Starbucks, save that money and go buy some silver. Go buy a real asset. 2 uniformed deputies from the Riverside Sheriff's Department in the county I work in or live in were refused service in Riverside, California, at their local Starbucks. So to these deputies, to the Sheriff's Department, to anyone in law enforcement, and to anyone who really loves this country, stop going to Starbucks. Stop giving Starbucks your money. They don't like you. But again, we as Americans, people always go, what can I do? I can't do anything. You know what? Here's something you can do today. Stop giving your money to Starbucks. Go to another establishment that believes in freedom, that believes in America, believes in what you believe in, isn't going to judge you for what you believe in, and certainly isn't going to take a part of your money when you buy that coffee, that mocha, that latte. They're not going to take a little bit of that money and give it to an organization that is going to fight you for your rights, that is going to use that money against you and what we believe here in America. Remember, be very cautious where you spend your money and where you spend your time. God bless every one of you. Thanks for watching. Please share this video, like it, hit that bell notification so that you are notified with the newest video. Have a phenomenal week. God bless.